Thank you. Sort of good to be back? It's because I wasn't here. Shabbat Shalom. Do we have a mic here? Can you hear me? This one's better.
Test.
Test.
You have to like put it right up to your mouth to be heard.
Okay. Boker Tov, Shabbat Shalom, page 147, Shochin Ad.
Gee, Rabbi, you know, I missed something this morning in Birchot HaShachar. We typically skip this for whatever reason, but I was going to put it in this morning and I completely forgot. We do Shirat Hayam every morning in our tefillah, and sometimes in the interest of time we skip it, and I was going to do it this morning, Dafka, but that's okay. We'll hear it again. We'll hear it in a little while, for real.
I don't know about for real.
Well,
But symbolically, unless you want to go back in time many millennia.
no, I'm okay living in,
Right now,
I think so.
symbolically.
Symbolically, we'll hear it again. So we'll start with Shochenad. Shochenad marom v'kadosh shemo v'chatuv ranenu tzadikim ba'adonai la yesharim navatehila befi yesharim titalal uvdivrei tzadikim titbarach uvilshon chasidim titramam Uvekerev Kedoshim Titkadash. David, I hope you're following this. Uvmakalot Rivevot Amcha Beit Yisrael. Shekein chovat kol hayitzurim lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elokei avotenu ve'imotenu lehodot le'alel leshabeach לפאר לרומם להדר לברך להלל ולקלס על כל דברי שירות שירות ותשבחות דוד בן ישי עבדך משיחך. Page 148, please rise.
I was just about to do it.
ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו. ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול בתשבחות. אל ההודאות אדון הנפלאות. הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך אלכי העולמים, יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ויאמר דברה קירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ימרו,
אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם עולם ועולמיה.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לאל אמין כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעולמה וימרו, אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, יוצר אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל. הכל יודוך והכל ישפוך והכל יאמרו קדוש אדוני הכל יאמרו מזור.
המשובח המעבר בנושאים ימות עולם אלוהי עולם ברחמך רבים רחם עלינו.
Ein kirkecha v'ein zulatecha, efes piltecha umito melach. Ein kirkecha Adonai Eloheinu ba'olam hazeh, v'ein zulatecha malkeinu lechaye ha'olam haba. Efes piltecha go'aleinu limot ha'mashiach, v'ein dom elecha moshienu L'tchiyat hametim. In honor of my having just been in Israel, I want to do El Adon 2, the old Israeli tune that I have often done it to here. It's Kuma Echa, it's a hora dance. The tune is Yalai la 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 yalai la la yalai la 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 yalai la la yalai la 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 yalai la la yalai la 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 El Adon El Adon al kol ha'ma'asim baruch korach v'kodesh shama kodlo v'tuvo malei olam da'at u'tbuna sovevimoto ha'mitkae hayat ha'kodesh bnei dor v'chavod al ha'merkavam zechut u'misholim nechiso chesed v'rachamim lifnei yevodo Me'oro shebara Eloheinu yitzaram b'da'at v'dina u'vazker koach u'pura natan bahem liyot oshim b'kerev tevel mleim ziv v'fitim noga no'ezivah b'chol ha'olam שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם עושים בהם הרצון תורתם בערך אבות נותנים לשמור סולם ורינה לזכר מלכותו קרא לשמש ויזרח אור ראה והיטי סורת הלבנה שבע דעת נמלה כוסבה מעלו תפארת וגדולה סרפים ויופנים וחיות הקודש ילאי ללאי 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 ילאי ללאי לאל אשר שבת מכל המעשים ויום השביעי עליו ישב לכיסא כבודו. תתברך מושיענו על שבח מעשה ידיך ועל מראה עול שעשית יפרוך הסלע. תתברך צורנו מלכנו וגואלנו בורא קדושים.
153.
וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה ובטהרה בשירה ובזמרה ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומעריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול הגיבור והנורא הקדוש וכולם מקבלים להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח בשפה ברורה ונימה קדושה כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו והאופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מן השאים לעומת צרפים לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו לאל ברוך נעימות ייתנו למלך המחדש בטובו בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית, כאמור ליוסף. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה ליורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות, אהבה רבה אהבתנו, אדוני אלוהינו חמלה גדולה ורחמת עלינו. והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועת אתה, ובנו בחרת בקולם ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול, סלע סלע באמת להודות לך. אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, וחיי
משמוע תשמעו מצוותיי.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לתורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת. יציב נקום וקיים אמן אלוהים. לדור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים וחיסון נכון, ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת.
ודבריו חיים וקיימים, נאמנים ונחמדים ליד ולעולמי עולמים.
פודנו מצילנו מעולם שמך, אין אלוהים זולתך. עזרת אבותינו ואמותינו, אתה הוא מעולם. מגן משה לבני אמר חיים בכל דבר. אשרי שישמע למצוותיך ותורתך דברך ישים על ליבו. הזאת, שיבחו אהובים, שיבחו אהובים. 8 lines down on 158. ורוממו, 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 ורוממו אל. ורוממו, 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 ורוממו אל. Now we're at 8. ונתנו ידידים, ונתנו ידידים, זמירות, שירות ותשבחות, ברכות והודאות, למלך אל חי וקיים, רם ונישא, גדול ונורא, משפיל גאים, ומגביה שפלים, מוציא אסירים, ופודי ענבים, ועוזר דלים. ויענה לעמו, ויענה לעמו, וישב עם אליו. תהילות לאל עליון, ברוך ומבורך, משה ומרים ובני ישראל לכהנו שירה, בשמחה רבה, ויאמרו כולם. ילאי ללאי ללאי ילאי ללאי ילאי ללאי ילאי ללאי ילאי ללאי ילאי ללאי ילאי ללאי מי כמוך מועלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוספת
Sur Yisrael, page 158.
Sur Yisrael, Kuma b'Yesrat Yisrael, Uftechinu mecha,
Yehuda ve'Yisrael, go aleinu, Adonai Tzvaot Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch V'Shmo.
Ga'al Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Agadol, Agibor ve'Anora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot, Umevi Goel Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Ufoked Umoshia Umagen Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ufoked Sarah, Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye Metim, Atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiva Ruach, Umorida Gashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye Metim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofe Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umido Melach, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'emana talachayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hametim, Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, Keshem shemakdishim oto bishmei marom, Kakatuv ayad neviecha, Vekarase else veyamar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzivaot, Meloch ol haaretz kevodo. Az bekol rash gadol, adir vechazak mashmi'im ko mitnaseim, liyumat serafim, leumatam baruch yomeru, baruch kevod Adonai mimkom chamalkenu tofia, V'timloch aleinu ki mechakim anachnu lach, matai timloch b'tzion, bekarov b'yameinu, leolam va'ed tishkon, titgadal v'titkadash, betoch Yerushalayim ircha, לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים, ועינינו תראינה מלכותך כדבר האמור B'shirei uzecha al yedei David Mashiach tzidkecha Yimloch Adonai leolam Elohayich Tzion Ledor vador Hallelujah Ledor vador nagid godlecha Ulenetzach netzachim kedushatcha nakdish Veshivchacha Eloheinu Mipinu le'amush le'olam va'ed Ki al melech gadol v'kadosh ata Baruch ata Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. So today is Shabbat Shirah, and so I thought I would add a little bit of Shirah, a little extra song. So let's sing something from the Amidah, page 163. In the, what looks on the page is the third paragraph down. In the bold print, I think it's bold. Kadshenu b'mitzvotecha. Is that bold?
Yes,
I think
it's bold.
Okay, so some of you know this, I'm sure. Okay, second line down of that third paragraph goes. think that's one of the things for the Miami Boys Choir does. You haven't heard anything until you've heard the Miami Boys Choir do that. That's really cute.
Page 167 for Kaddish Shalem.
Yidkara v'yidkara shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
B'yoma divra kirutei v'yom lichmachutei b'chayachonu v'yemechonu v'chaydocho beit Yisrael ba'agala v'zman kariv imeru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach li'olam li'omei omaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipor v'turma minaseh v'yidadar v'yitoleh v'yitolel shmei dekudesha brichu le'ela min kol berachata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran b'yoma v'imeru.
Amen.
Amen. Titkabel tzlot tohonu v'auton d'chol Yisrael kodam avohon v'shmaya v'imeru.
Amen.
Amen. Yesh lam rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imeru.
Amen.
Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'kol yoshvei tevel v'imeru. Amen.
Continuing on page 168 with the beginning of the Torah service.
Ein kamocha va'elohim Adonai ve'ein kema'asecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim umemshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed, Adonai os li'amo yitain, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom, avarachamim, Heitiva virtzonecha et Zion. Tivne chomot Yerushalayim. Tivne chomot Yerushalayim. Kivecha levad batachnu melech eram v'nisa adon olamim. Vayehi bin soa Haaron, vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai, veyafutsu oivecha, veyanusu mesanecha mipanecha, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion Tetzei Torah udevar Adonai mi Yerushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato Be'yanarachet Ve'lishmei Kadisha Kadisha Yakira Ana Emar Tushbechan Be'yanarachet Be'yanarachet Ve'lishmei Kadisha Kadisha Yakira, Ana Emar Tushbechan, Yehe Rava Kodamach, Tetiftach Libi Beoraita, Vitashli Mishalin Delibi, Veliba Decholamach Yisrael, Letavu Lechayin Velishlam. Amen. Page 171. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shema. Gadlu l'Adonai iti, uneram ema shema yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagedula ve'agevura ve'atiferet ve'anetzach ve'aod. Ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, Kol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, Lecha Adonai hamamlacha, v'yamid na'aseh lechol erosh romimu, romimu. Loheinu, unless you want. Chavu ve'ishtachavu, Lehadom raglav kadoshu, Romimu, Romimu, Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'ishtachavu, Ve'ishtachavu, Lehar kodsho, Lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu, Ramimu Adonai Eloheinu, ve'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ramimu Adonai Eloheinu, ve'yishtachavu lehar kodsho.
You may be seated. We looked all over for the tambourines and the shakers for by the time we get to Miriam dancing after the parting of the sea. I know that we have them, but we couldn't find them anywhere. So we'll have to, when we just get to that point, symbolically shake a tambourine. And the rest of what's going on, some of the other things that are going on in today's Parsha for Shabbat Shira and Beshalach, we will share together at the time of the drash. Today, do you want to announce the page number?
Yes, Rabbi. Torah reading begins on page 403, chapter 14, verse 15.
And in just a moment, the first Aliyah will be Gary Spivak, and I want to acknowledge his reading of this first Aliyah this morning before he begins, because he has spent a great deal of time and a lot of love in learning how to read Torah recently. And I think is this your second? Where'd he go? There he is. It's his second time reading Torah, and he's a great example for all the rest of us. If you haven't yet learned how to read Torah or Haftarah, we're always around to teach and to include you doing one of the aliyot during the service.
You already announced
Yes,
it, right?
yes.
Okay, so you just have to open it so you can follow. Find the spot. Yeah, that's the sheet. Where do you start?
It's right here.
Okay, so. Vayazor v'yagin v'yoshilach ol chosim bo v'nomar amen hakol avu godel Eloheinu tnu kavod laTorah. You go to
Tamod,
Chazan,
Chachazan,
Yehudit Dina,
Yehudit Dina,
Bat Harav Pinchas,
Bat Harav Pinchas,
Ve'Esther,
Ve'Esther,
Aliyah Rishonah.
Aliyah Rishona,
Baruch Shenatan Torah Li'amo Yisrael B'Kedushato Ve'atem Advikim B'Adonai Elohechem Chaim Kolchem Hayom. What did you say here? Yeah, Vayomer. Thank you. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Va'ed Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Amim V'Natan Lanu Et Torato Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe Matitzak Elai Daber el Bnei Yisrael V'Yisa'u Ve'ata harem et matecha unatei et yadecha al hayam ufke'ehu vayavo v'nei Yisrael b'toch hayam vayabasha Va'ani hineni mechazek et lev Mitzrayim vayavo acharechem v'ivkada b'faro Uchochelo birchbo ufarashav V'yadu Mitzrayim ki ani Adonai V'ikavdi b'faro birchbo ufarashav Vayisa malach ha'Elohim Acholek lifnei machanei Yisrael Vayelech me'acharechem Vayisa Amud Ha'anan Mipneihem Vaya'amod Me'acharechem Vayavo Ben Machanei Mitzrayim Uben Machanei Yisrael Vayahi Ha'anan V'chachoshek Vaya'er et halayla V'lo kara Ze'el ze kol halayla. Thank you.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'Chayei Olam Nata B'Tochenu Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
beautifully done, Garish.
Thank you.
Hey, look.
Your fan club.
Here's our next reader. Are you okay? Here's a yad.
Oh, that's yours. I'll take this. That's mine.
Okay. I don't know.
Gary. Okay, Garish. Gary.
You're the second
you're
Aliyah?
Aliyah.
Oh,
Ya'amod,
Yaakov ben Fishel,
Yaakov ben Fishel,
Anabatya,
V'chanabat,
Batya.
Batya Aliyah Sheni.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch
Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim. V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai.
Shemo.
Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayet Moshe et yado al hayam, vayolech Adonai et hayam beruach kadim azah kol halayla, vayasem et hayam lecharava, vayibaku hamayim, vayavo bnei Yisrael betoch hayam vayabasha, והמים להם חומה מימינם ומשמאלם. וירדפו מצרים ויבוא אחריהם כל סוס פרעה רכבו ופרשיו אל תוך הים. ויהי באשמורת הבוקר וישקף אדוני אל מחנה מצרים בעמוד אש וענן וים את מחנה מצרים. ויסר את אופן מרחבותיו וינגהו בכבדות ויאמר מצרים אנוסה מפני ישראל כי אדוני נלחם להם במצרים.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Thank you.
During this next Aliyah, the third Aliyah, we will be crossing the Sea of Reeds, and so at that particular point, not at the very beginning, but when we motion to you, we'll all rise for the Shira.
Announce the page. Announce the page. Announce the page.
Okay. Page 405, verse 26.
Ya'amod harav Yosef ben Yitzchak Halevi Shlishi.
Adonai Machem. Baruch Adonai Vorach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Vorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, נטה את ידך על הים, וישובו המים על מצרים, על רכבו ועל פרשיו. ויית משה את ידו על הים, וישב הים לפנות בוקר לאיתנו, ומצרים נסים לקראתו. וינער אדוני את מצרים בתוך הים. וישובו המים, ויכסו את הרכב ואת הפרשים לכל חיל פרעה, הבאים אחריהם בים, לא נשאר בהם עד אחד. ובני ישראל הלכו ביבשה בתוך הים, והמים להם חומה מימינם ומשמאלם. ויושע אדוני ביום ההוא את ישראל מיד מצרים, וירא ישראל את מצרים מת על שפת הים. וירא ישראל את היד הגדולה אשר עשה אדוני במצרים, ויראו העם את אדוני, ויאמינו באדוני ומשה עבדו. אז ישיר משה ובני ישראל את השירה הזאת לאדוני, ויאמרו לאמור, Shir al Adonai ki ga'oga, sus v'rochvo rama vayam. Ozi bezimrat ya, vayili lishua. Ze eli ve'anvehu, Elohei avi va'aro memenhu. Adonai ish milchama, Adonai shemo. Marchavot paro v'chelo yarav vayam, umivchar shalishav tubu b'yam suf. Tehomot yechas yumu yardu b'mstolot kemo aven. Yemincha Adonai nedari b'koach, Yemincha Adonai tirat oyev. Uverov geoncha taros kamecha, teshalach aronecha yochlemo kakash. Uveruach apecha ne'ermu mayim, nitzvu kmo neid nozlim, kafu tamot belev yam, amar oyev, erdof asig achalek shalal, tim la'emo nafshi, ari karbi, tori shemo yadi. Nashafta beruchacha ki samo yam, talalu ka'oferet, b'mayim adirim. Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh. Natita yamincha tiblaemo aretz, nechita b'chostecha amzu ga'alta, nehalta b'yoscha el neve kodshecha, shamu amim yirgazun chil achaz, yoshvei pelashet, az nivhalu alufei edom, elemo ad yochazemo ra'ad namogu, kol yoshvei kna'an, Tipol alehem emata b'fachad, bigdol zro'acha yitmu ka'aven, ad yavor amcha Adonai, ad yavor amzu kanita, tebiemo betitaemo behar nachalatcha, machol neshivtecha, pa'alta Adonai, mikdash Adonai konernu yadecha, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Ki vasus paro berichbo befarashav bayam. Vayashev Adonai alehem et mei hayam. Uvenei Yisrael halchiu b'yabasha betoch hayam. Vatikach Miriam Hanaviyah Achot Aharon et hatof beyada Vatetzena kol hanashim achareha betupim uvimcholot Vata'an lahem Miriam Shiru l'Adonai ki ga'oga sus v'rochvo rama vayam.
אמת תורתנו הקדושה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורתו, תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, נותן התורה.
Yasher Koach, Yasher Koach.
We're at the fourth Aliyah. You can find that on page 412, verse 22.
Yamod
Eliezer,
Eliezer ben
Pinchas Vedina.
Ben Pinchas Vedina Revi'i. I think we're number 4. Am I right?
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayasa Moshe et Yisrael mi'am suf, vayetu el midbar shur, vayelchu shloshet yamim bamidbar, velo matzu mayim, vayavo marata, velo יכלו לשתות מים במרה, כי מרים הם על כן קרא שמה מרה. וילונו העם אל משה לאמור, מה נשתה? ויצעק אל אדוני, ויורהו אדוני עץ, וישלך אל המים, וימתקו המים, שם שם לו חוק ומשפט, ושם נישאו. ויאמר אם שמוע תשמע לקול אדוני אלוהיך, והישר בעיניו תעשה, והאזנת למצוותיו, ושמרת כל חוקיו, כל המחלה אשר שמתי במצרים לא אשים עליך, כי אני אדוני רופאך.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natav b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
This is Aliyah number 5. It continues on page 414 at verse 27.
Do that at the end of the Aliyah. I'll bring up a siddur so we can. Ya'amod Shlomo Eliyahu Ben Avram Meir Halevi Ubluma Chamishi. I honestly can't.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayavo elima v'sham shtem esrei enot mayim b'shibim tamarim ve'achanu sham al hamayim vayis'u me'elim vayavo kol adat b'nei Yisrael el midbar sin asher ben Elim uvein Sinai v'chamisha asar yom lachodesh hasheni לצאתה מארץ מצרים, וילונו כל עדת בני ישראל על משה ועל אהרון במדבר, ויאמרו עליהם בני ישראל, מי ייתן מותנו ביד אדוני בארץ מצרים, בשבתנו על סיר הבשר, באוכלנו לחם לשובע, כי הוצאתם אותנו אל המדבר הזה, להמית את כל הקהל הזה ברעב.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Sandy is going to bench Gomel, which is a special bracha that happens, that is recited when somebody has passed through a difficult time. Do you want to say what it was?
I had the honor of being in Israel 2 weeks ago, and during our visit of Kfar Aza, we got the siren went off, and we were told to, get into a doorway or something, and a rocket was shot at us, and then we heard a loud boom, and that was Iron Dome. Thank God.
So he is going to bench Gomel. So if you turn to page 173, you can, at the bottom of the page, you can follow his bracha, and then there is a response that we all make to his bracha. Page 173.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hagomel l'chayavim tovot, shegmalani kol tov.
Mi shegmalcha kol tov, hu yigmalcha kol tov, Selah.
The sixth Aliyah continues at page 414 at verse 4, bottom of the page.
We're number 6 now. Ta'amod.
Yehudit Devorah,
Yehudit Devorah.
Bat Henoch,
Bat Henoch
Esther.
ve'Esther לעלייה השישית.
Baruch et Adonai Hamorah.
Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Havorach Lam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim Venatan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, Hineni mamtir lachem, lechem min hashamayim, ve'yatza ha'am v'laktu dvar yom biyomo, leman anasenu, ha'elech b'torati imlo, ve'haya bayom hashishi, ve'hechinu et asher yaviu, ve'haya mishneh al asher yilketu yom. Vayomer Moshe ve'Aharon el kol b'nei Yisrael, Erev idatem, ki Adonai hotzi etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, uvoker, or item et kavod Adonai, b'shamo et lirutechem al Adonai, v'nachnu ma kitalinu aleinu.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'Chaye Olam Natan V'Techenu Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
The seventh Aliyah continues on page 414. I'm not sure. Verse 8. It's on page 415, sorry.
Ta'amod kelaminya bat Levi Yaakov ublima לעלייה השביעית.
So happy you're doing this.
Okay.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvorah.
Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Moshe beteit Adonai lachem ba'erev basar lechol velechem ba'boker lispoa bishmoa Adonai et tzilunotechem asher atem malinim alav v'nachnu ma lo aleinu tnotechem ki al Adonai. Vayomer Moshe el Aharon emor El kol adat b'nei Yisrael kirvu lifnei Adonai ki shama et tlunotechem vayehi kedaber Aharon el kol adat b'nei Yisrael vayifnu el hamidbar vehine kevod Adonai nir'a be'anan.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'Chaye Olam Nata B'Tochenu Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen.
Just want to spend a moment welcoming you home. You're the agriculture queen. I was so happy last night on Shabbat. Cantor Aronoff shared some of the pictures that showed you in varying different ways really helping to plant and to harvest the agriculture so needed in Israel. And you need to ask her to show you the picture of her tennis shoes completely caked in mud, which is a sign of complete dedication. And in addition to that, I understand that you cleaned them up and brought them home, which is even more dedication, to bring the soil of Eretz Yisrael in some way home with you. So welcome back, and thank you for everything that you have done there, and to all the other people in the community who do so as well.
בבקשה לקום. יתגדל ויקרא שמי רבה, ויעמד דברי קירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בגלה, בגלה, ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ליומי יומיה יתברך, וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה, בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמא, ויאמרו Amen.
The Maftir Aliyah can be found on page 415, verse 8.
Ta'amod Malka bat Shmuelev V'chana Maftir. Yes, I will. Here, use his tzitzit. There you go.
Baruch Adonai Havarach.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai.
Baruch Vishma.
Amen. Vayomer Moshe beteit Adonai lachem ba'erev basar le'echol velechem ba'boker lisboa bishmoa Adonai et lunotechem asher atem malinim alav v'nachnu ma lo aleinu tlunotechem ki al Adonai. Vayomer Moshe el Aharon emor el kol adat b'nei Yisrael kirvu lifnei Adonai ki shama et tlunotechem. Vayehi kedaber Aharon el kol adat b'nei Yisrael vayifnu el hamidbar. Vehine kevod Adonai nir'ah be'anan.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
Let's see if we can get into the Song of the Sea.
Ya'amdu hamagbiya ve'hagolel
V'zot HaTorah
asher sa Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai beyad Moshe Eitz chaim ilam machazikim ba v'tom chehameh Machazikim ba v'tom chehameh ushar דרכיה דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיה שלום. דרכיה דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיה שלום. לי, 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 לי.
You can see well enough without. She doesn't want it. It's too high for her.
We're going to do the Mishaberach Lecholim for those who are in need of healing. We've started a new thing a few weeks ago. If you have a name that you would like to share during the Mishaberach, please step up to the mic so that you can share the name and that we can all hear it and take into our hearts your hope for healing as part of community. Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, who yivarech ve'yirapeh hacholim. Elna, Rivana, Elna, Rivana, Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzhak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel u'v'yirapeh v'yivarech et
Shoshana Bat Shimon.
Diane Mendelson.
Lisa Marks.
Nata Batan.
Natalin Eliezer ben Bracha Aviva, Friedel bat Rivka Jente, Moshe Menachem ben Miriam Ilan ben Shananzlin, Nadav Ephraim ben Shlomit, Davinia Levana. And I am glad to report that our friend is back home from the hospital who was hit by the car in Ranana, but his friend is still in the hospital.
Shabbat, Rivka, Moshe ben Pesha, Zeb ben Gidel, Esther Fortuné, Steve Rogers, and Valerie Shapiro.
Meir ben Yudit, Tova Bas Ruth, Chaya Avram Bas Nechama, Dan Madigan.
Richard Wynn, Carrie Cohen.
Shlomo Eliyahu Halevi ben Bluma, Zachariah Ruvain Halevi ben Shoshana, Moshe ben Zalman.
Kaya Bat Rivka, Tzvi Hirsch ben Sura Rivka, Ron Gottlieb, and Howard Kipnis.
Shoshana, Shirit Shmuela bat Shoshana, Pesach ben Sipora, and Gilad, I don't know Ben who. Gilad is my friend's son-in-law who was badly wounded in Gaza and miraculously survived his wounds and came home from the hospital. He's going back to rehab, but the doctor said he was a miracle.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Alehem Lahachzikam Ularapotam Vishlach Lahem Ahera Refuah Shalema Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf Betoch Sharach HaCholim לחזק את ידי העוסקים בצורכיכם, שבת היא מלזעוק ורפואה קרוב לבוא, השתה בעגלה, ובזמן קריב ונאמר, אמן. Melinda is going to read the Haftarah today, and she's a hero because unfortunately Sarah Marcus was supposed to do the Haftarah this morning, but she woke up all hoarse, and when we got to shul, we found that out, and Melinda stepped up and
David over here is going to do the bracha before the Haftarah. Oh, and after? Yasher Koach. Ahead of time, Yasher Koach. So he's going to do the brachot, and both of them are last-minute additions. So it's wonderful to have a kahal that we can turn to for anything. Thank you all very much.
David and Linda, the whole new duo.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'rata v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai habacher b'torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'imvieh ha'emet v'tzedek.
Atasha ha'jivara uvarak ben avoniyam bayom ha'hu lemor before parot b'Yisrael b'hit nadev am Baruch Adonai Shema HaMelachim Azinu Rosnim Anochi Ladonai Anochi Ashira Azamer Ladonai Elohei Yisrael.
Page 426, verse 4.
Adonai B'seitecha Meseir B'atzecha Misadeh Edom Eretz Ra'asha Gam Shamayim Natafu Gam Aviv Natfu Mayim Harim Gazlu Mipnei Adonai Zeh Sinai Mipnei Adonai Elohei Yisrael Bimei Shamgar Ben Anat Bimei Yael Chalu Arachot V'lachei Netivot Yelechu Orachot Akalakalot Chalu Pazon B'Yisrael Chadetlu Shakakti Devorah Shakamti Em B'Yisrael Yivcha Elohim Chadashim Ahazah Lahem She'arim Magenim Yere'eh V'Ramach Barba'im Elef B'Yisrael Libi L'chakacheh Yisrael Hatmidavim Ba'am Baruch Adonai Rokvei Atonot Zechorot Yoshvei Amidin V'lachei Al Derech Sichu Mikol Machzaisim Ben Mishabim Shaminat Yitanu Tzedakot Adonai Tzedakot Parzana B'Yisrael Az Yordu L'Shat Arim Am Adonai Uri Dibaraha Uri Dabri Shir Kurum Barak Shevyacha Ben Avaniyaham Ahaz Yirahat Sharim Ahaz Yirat Sarid Ladirim Am Adonai Yirali Bagiborim Mine Ephraim Shasham Amalek Acharecha Binyamin Bamamecha Mini Machor Yardu Mechalakim Umizivulun Moshrim Beshevet Sofer Visarai Bisachar Im Devorah Bisachar Kain Barak Beamek Shulach Beraglach Bivli Vlagod Beruven Gedolim Chikre Lev Lama Yashavta Ben Hamishpatim Lishma Shirakot Adarim Leave Lagot Beruven Gedolim Chikre Lev Gilad Be'eved Ayaden Shachen Vidan Lama Yagut Oniyot Asher Yashav Lechov Yamim Ve'al Mivratzav Yishkahon Zivulun Am Cherev Nafshu Lamud V'Naftali Amir Mesadeh Ba'uhu Melachim Nilchamu Az Nilchamu Machei Kenaan Bataranad Al Migdoh Betseh Kasef Lalakahu Bin Shamayim Nilchamu HaKochavim Mimsilalotam V'Nilchamu Al Sisra Nacha Kishon Gerafim, Nacha Kidumim, Nacha Kishon, Tidrichi Nafshi Oz, Az Halamu Akvesus, Midaharod, Deharod Abiram, Oru Meros, Amah Malach Adonai, Oru Oro Yoshveha, Kilo Va'u, Lesbat Adonai, Bagiborim, Tivorach Menashim, Yael, Ashet, Eshechever Hakeni, Menashim, Berhel Tivorach, Mayim Sha'al, Chalav Natanaha, Besefel Adirim, Hikrivaha, Chemaha, Yadaha, Vayater Tishlachotnaha, Vimina, Lahamut Alam Amelihim, Vahamaha Sisraha, Mechakaha Roshaho, Umachatsa, Vichafe Rakato, Ben Ragleha, Karanafal Shachav, Ben Ragleha, Karanafal, Be'asher Karash, Shamnafal Shadud, Be'ad Hachalon, Benishkefa, Betabev, Em Sisra, Be'ad He'eshnahav, Madua Beshesh Rikbahalavo, Madua Echre, Patme, Makirotahav, Chachmot, Saroteha, Te'anena, Avhi, Tashiva Merehalaha, Haloyim Su, Yichaka Shalal, Rachamatayim, Lirosh Gever, Shalal Tzivayim, Lisisraha, Shalal Tzivayim, Rikmaha, Seva Rikmatayim, Lisavre Shalal, Ken, Yovdu Choloyevecha, Adonai Verhovahav, Kitzet HaShemesh, Benigvurato, Vatishkot HaAretz, Arbaim Shana. 40 years. 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 40
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Tzor kol ha'olamim Tzadik b'chol chadarot Ha'ne'eman Ha'omer v'yoseh Ha'medaber u'mkayem Shechol devarav Emet v'tzedek Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu V'ne'emanim devarecha ודבר אחד מדבריך, אחור לא ישוב ריקן, כי המלך נאמן ורחמן אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני,
Baruch v'shmo.
האל נאמן בכל דבריו,
Amen.
רחם על ציון, כי היא ביתנו, ועל לבנת נפש, תושיע במהרה בימינו, ברוך אתה אדוני,
Baruch v'shmo.
שמח ציון בבניך,
Amen.
שמחנו אדוני אלוהינו, ואליהו הנביא בעבדך, ומלכות בית דוד משיחך, במהרה יבוא, ויגל ליבנו, על כיסור לא יסב סור, על כיסור לא יסב סור, ולא ינחלו עוד אחרים את כבודו, כי בשם קדשך נשבתה לו, שלא ינבא נראה שלא יקבה נראה לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני,
Baruch v'shmo.
מגן דוד,
Amen.
על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה, שנתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לך דוד ולעוד ותפארת על הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך, ומברכים אותך, ותברך שמך בפיקותי, ותמיד לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני,
Baruch v'shmo.
מאת השבת.
Amen. Yasher Koach. David, will you announce when your bar mitzvah is, please?
May 25th.
May 25th. Be there or be square. Yasher Koach.
Can I say one thing? Yeah?
Depends.
It depends. It depends. So, at the end of the Haftorah, the very last line, I mean, it's a sad end to the Haftorah, even though the hero is Yael, and that's my daughter's name. But the last line, Ken yovdu kol oivecha Adonai ve'ohavav ketzet hashemesh bigvurato, so may all your enemies perish. There's a song. I won't get my guitar. Ken yovdu yovedu kol oivecha yovedu, ken yovedu kol oivecha Yisrael. Ohavav ketzet hashemesh bigevurato, Ohavav ketzet hashemesh bigevurato, Ohavav ketzet hashemesh bigevurato, Ohavav ketzet hashemesh bigevurato, ken yovedu kol oivecha yovedu, ken yovedu kol oivecha Yisrael. How many of you know that song?
I heard some people singing.
Yeah, Hadar. It's a good old Israeli song, and you can hear the sort of dance-like beat, and also the thing that is so special and wonderful about Israeli music is how it weaves the cultures of all the Jews who have moved there. You know, the East, particularly in this case, the Eastern European and the Middle Eastern influence in this music. So I wanted to share that music of the last verse of the Haftarah.
Yasher Kochech. Cantor Aronoff is making up for the fact that she spent last Shabbat with her family that she loves but did not get to go to Nava Tehillah as I suggested she might have last week. So we get the benefit of that today as you sing. I'd like to turn now to page 177, but today I'd like to start with the middle paragraph on the prayer for our country. Adonai, God whose spirit is in all creatures, we pray that your spirit be awakened within all the inhabitants of our land. Uproot from our hearts hatred and malice, jealousy and strife. Plant love and companionship, peace and friendship among the many peoples and faiths who dwell in our nation. Grant us the knowledge to judge justly, the wisdom to act with compassion, and the understanding and courage to root out poverty and hatred from our land. May it be your will that our land be a blessing to all who dwell on earth, and may you cause all peoples to dwell in friendship and freedom. Speedily fulfill the vision of your prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. For all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall know me, and let us say, Amen. We turn now to page 178 for the prayer for Israel. Avinu Shabashamayim, Sur Yisrael v'goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Smichat Geulatenu, Hagen Aleha be'evrat chastecha, Ufros Aleha sukat shlomecha, Ushlach orcha v'yamitcha l'roshecha, sarecha v'yotzecha, V'tenakem be'etzat tova milfanecha, Chazek et yidei mignei eretz kodshenu, V'hanchilenu Eloheinu Yeshua, V'ateret nitzachon ta'atrem, V'natata shalom ba'aretz, V'simchat olam liyoshvecha, V'nomar Amen. We turn now to page 181 for Ashrei.
Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha, Od Yalilucha Selah. Ashrei Shekachalo, Ashrei Sharonai Elohav, Tila LeDavid Armim Chalel, V'Chashim Chalel, V'Bochem Tov Adonai Lokol V'Rachama V'Kol Masav Yeduch Adonai Kol Masacha V'Sidach Yefachlocha Kvar Machot. Einei Cholelecha Yisber Ruton. Potech et Yedecha Masmiel L'Chol Chai Ratzon Tzadik. Tilat Adonai Daber Pi Vivarech Kol Basar Shem Kodsho Liolam Va'ed V'Anachnu Nevarech Yah Me'ata V'Ad Olam Hallelujah.
We will continue on page 183 as we return the Torah to the Ark.
Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav Shemo levado, Hodo al eretz v'shamayim, Vayarem keren leyamo, Tila lechol chasidav, Livnei Yisrael, Am Kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Mizmor leDavid, Avul Adonai b'nei Eli, Avul Adonai, Avod ba'oz lai lai lai, Avul Adonai, kevod shemo yishtach, Avul Adonai, behadrat kodesh. Atzev lahavot eshkol, Adonai yachil midbar, yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, kol Adonai yachol elayalot, Yomar Shuvan and Kuma Adonai Lim Ki lekach tov natati lachem Torati Al tazovu et chayimi lama chazikim ba v'tomcheha meyushar terachea darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva chadesh yameinu kekedem lai 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 da da lai 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 lai
Don't groan while I share this joke that you have all most probably heard. A fellow was stuck on his rooftop in a flood, and he was praying to God for help. Soon a man in a rowboat came by, and the fellow shouted to the man on the roof, "Jump in, I can save you." And the stranded fellow shouted back, "No, it's okay, God'll save me." So the rowboat went on by, and then a motorboat came, and the fellow in the motorboat shouted, "Jump in, I can save you." And the stranded man said, "No, thanks. God will save me." So the motorboat went on, and then a helicopter came by, and the pilot shouted down, "Grab this rope, and I'll lift you to safety." And to this, the stranded man again replied, "No, thanks. God will save me." And so the helicopter reluctantly flew away. Soon the water rose above the rooftop, and the man drowned. He went to the Olam Haba, the world to come. He finally got his chance to discuss this whole situation with God, at which point he exclaimed, "I had faith in you, God, but why didn't you save me? You let me drown. I don't understand why." To this, God replied, "I sent you a rowboat, a motorboat, and a helicopter. So what more did you expect?" I know that this is an old joke, but it applies perfectly to this week's Parsha, B'Shalach. The Parsha and Shabbat Shirah is a treasure trove for drashot, but the part of the Parsha that speaks to me right now, in this time of our history, is reflected by the fable that I shared. Vayomer Moshe el ha'am al tira'u. Hityatzvu ru'u et Yeshuat Adonai asher ya'aseh lachem hayom. Ki asher ra'item et Mitzrayim hayom lo tosefu lerotam od ad olam. But Moses said to the people, have no fear. Stand by and witness the deliverance which Adonai will work for you today. We'll pray. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you will never see again. Adonai yilachem lechem v'atem ticharishun. Adonai will battle for you. You hold your peace. But then God said to Moses, Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, Ma titzak alai, diber el b'nei Yisrael v'yisa'u. God said to Moses, why do you cry out to me? Why all this praying? Tell the Israelites to go forward. Moshe is right that God will split the sea. Where he is wrong is being aware of what people need. Rabbi Sharon Cohen Ainsfeld writes, God says, tell them to go forward, not by letting them know that you have faith in me. Tell them to go forward because you have faith in them. As often is the case, the Midrash and Talmud come forward with an expansion of the story in the Torah. When Israel stood facing the Sea of Reeds and the command was given to move forward, each of the tribes hesitated, saying, we don't want to be the first one to jump into the sea. And we all know a man named Nachshon ben Aminadav saw what was happening, and he stepped into the sea. The waters kept rising, and he almost drowned. Moshe finally lifted up his staff, an action rather than a prayer. And Nachshon kept walking in, and following Nachshon's lead, the Israelites entered the sea, and they were saved as the sea parted. The very important message I see and experience with this lesson at the Sea of Reeds is about stepping up, of being willing to act in a time of need. A few days ago, I wrote to two men, sons of a dear friend in Northern California, Elliot and Ari. I've known them for a number of years. And many years ago, they had joined the Israeli army and served out their years with their units. They were chayalim bodadim, lone soldiers, their whole family in California. But they were Zionists, dedicated to the state of Israel. After several years of service, they came home, they got married, had children, and then on October 7th, even before they were called up, they decided to go back and join again with their units. Yes, they have wives and children, but so did their buddies who were reservists. They are home again now, and this is what I wrote to them both. Hello. I'd written to your mom, but wanted to write to you personally as well. She and I spoke about the fact that you are home now. I wanted to let you know that Ken and I and all the friends that we have told about you and Ari see you as our hero. I cannot even begin to imagine what these past weeks and months have been for you, but I can tell you that right now I am writing a drash for Shabbat B'Shalach, and I am including you and Ari in it. To us, you are Nachshon ben Aminadav, the man who stepped up and moved first into the Sea of Reeds when others were hesitant to do it. He risked himself for the safety and security of others. Please hear our gratitude. Yesterday, because this is when I wrote it, was a horrible day. I don't know if you knew any of the soldiers who have fallen. We are grateful that you are home and are grateful for what you have given. So Elliot responded, Hi, Rabbi, it's great to hear from you, and I really, truly appreciate all the love and support. It's nice knowing that there are a few good leaders out there speaking and leading in the right direction. It was a very interesting and unique experience, both for Ari and myself. By the luck of the draw, my unit was sent north to face off with Hezbollah, while Ari was sent to Gaza. Sorry, missing a page. There we go. It was a hard time all around, but I can assure you of the spirit of the country and its warriors who are in high spirit and ready for anything. I am very fortunate to return to work here surrounded by true supporters, though I can't say the same for Ari. He's hanging in there. When the northern situation's still unresolved, I may be returning sometime between March and May, but I'm not exactly sure yet. Please send my love to Ken and your family and every member of your community who is standing strong and proud these days. A few days later, I also got a response from Ari. And he said that in Gaza, a handful of his group lost their lives. In his unit, he said they were fortunate because they were only wounded. But he said it's very difficult to come back to the United States when you go into a job where you know that nobody has any sense of kindness or sympathy for what's happening in Israel. And he said that he feels very separated now because he's not with his buddies with whom he went through this experience. So Elliot and Ari are Nachshon ben Aminadav. So are the 6 combat engineers a week and a half ago killed accidentally with friendly fire. And the 21 soldiers, also combat engineers, this week in the special unit Yahalom, Diamond, killed by a rocket that demolished the building they were in. And all the soldiers in Eretz Yisrael, they all stepped up. They stepped into situations that were beyond terrifying, and they did their job, as Elliot said, with pride and strength. Many Israeli citizens are Nachshon ben Aminadav, a country full of people who didn't wait for government to step up, but instead help with supplies to their military, prepare food, and take it to bases, create assistance for families of hostages, and never, ever give up. They step up, determined and proud. I decided to do a Google search on the word stepping up, hoping to find material for this drash referring to taking responsibility, to choosing to be present for important situations in communities, in families. I kid you not that I did not find a single article or book focusing on being people who choose to give of themselves even in difficult or dangerous situations. Every single article truly was ultimately about stepping up to handle workplace issues. Only one used sports teamwork as a lead-in, and then he said, you'll hear about how in crucial times certain people stepped up and played beyond everyone's expectations. He then goes on to associate this with workplace excellence. Clearly, with regard to soldiers, we can also call their stepping up bravery, whose definition is the quality or state of having or showing mental or moral strength to face danger, fear, or difficulty. But stepping up for most people is not bravery. It's determination, responsibility, and awareness that we must look out for one another. In Hebrew, taking responsibility is achrayut. In Musar ethics literature, it is the center of all positive efforts. The idea is highlighted in a teaching of Hillel in Pirkei Avot 2:6. Uv'imkom she'ein anashim hishtadel lihiyot ish. To paraphrase that in modern language, in a place where people aren't taking responsibility, we each need to step up and be that person who takes responsibility. Rabbi Israel Salanter from Lithuania in the 1800s created the Musar movement. It emerges from the idea that service to and responsibility for other human beings is the single most important human value. He believed that the process of transforming ourselves into ethical, responsible beings was too difficult to leave to happenstance. It required active effort. Kol Yisrael arevim ze bazeh. All Israel is responsible for one another. I've spoken about Nachshon. I've equated the people of Israel, civilian and military, to him and his actions. But I completely believe that we, wherever we are, can be and may already be Nachshon ben Aminadav as well. We can't all be like Elliot and Ari, although some of us wish we could be. Or, as Cantor Aronoff told me, we may not be Israeli warrior soldiers where even a wounded soldier who has lost a limb this week said that he's waiting for his prosthetic so he can go back to the army. Or the soldier released from service who doesn't want to be home because his friends in the unit are still out there. But we can still remember how important it is for each of us to step up, not once, but continually. And not just in wartime, but always. And we know, thank God, that so many people at Adat Ariel have been doing that, including those of you who have just returned from Israel and those of us in our congregation who are there right now. Right now, it's up to us to step up over and over and over again with contributions or calls and letters to our representatives, or proudly wearing our Magen David even in a societal tenor of growing anti-Semitism, or our wristband to bring the hostages home, or have difficult conversations with people that we know, or, as a number of our congregants have already done, go to Israel and help. Nachshon ben Aminadav took the first step and kept on walking into the depth because he knew it was up to him to take achrayut, responsibility. As Moshe learned, the man in the story of the flood learned, and we learned too. God says, yes, I am here for you, but you can't just sit and wait for a miracle. You have to make the miracle happen as well. We need to remember that we have a brit with God, a covenantal relationship, where it isn't just what God can do, but what we can and must do. And the time is now and always. Shabbat Shalom. We turn now to page 184 for Chatzi Kaddish, after which we will rise for the Amidah.
Yitkadal v'yitkada shemei Rabbah v'yamad divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayechol beit Yisrael ba'agalav v'zman kariv v'yimeru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach Li'olam li'omei omayayid Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpor v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalel shmei dekudesha Brichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'yolema v'yimeru Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Agadol, Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Akol V'Zocher Chaste Avot V'Imahot U'Mevi Goel Ibnei V'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Foked U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch Ata Adonai Magen Avraham Ufoked Sarah Ata Gibor Leolam Adonai Mechaye Metim Ata Rav Lehoshia Mashiva Ruach Umorid Agashem Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechaye Metim Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofech Olim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Ichamocha Ba'agevurot Umidam Elach Melech Memit Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman ata l'chayot Meitim Baruch ata Adonai Mechayeh HaMeitim Na'aritzecha v'nakdishcha Kesod Ziach Sarfei Kodesh Hamakdishim Shimcha Bakodesh Kakatuv al Yad Nevi'echa V'kara Zeh el Zeh V'yamar Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzvaot Melech kol haaretz Kevodo, Kevodo Malei olam Mishartav shoalim Zeh la zeh Aye mekom kevodo leyumatam Baruch yomeru Baruch kevod Adonai mimekomo Uyifen berachamim veyachonam ham yachadim shemo erev avoker bechol yom tamid pamayim beyahava shema omrim Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Hu Eloheinu Hu Avinu Hu Malkeinu Hu Moshienu Vehu Yashmienu Pirachamav Shenit Leyene Kol Chai Liat Lachem Lelohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Uvdivrei Kodshecha Katuv Lemor Yimloch Adonai leolam, Elohayich Tzion, ledor vador. Hallelujah, ledor vador, nagid godlecha, ulenetzach netzachim kedushat chanakdish, tashivcha chaloinu mipinu leyamush leolam va'ed, ki al melech kadol v'kadosh ata baruch ata Adonai ha'el hakadosh. So after the Shachrit Amida, we sang Kadshenu, and now before the Kaddish, I'd like to sing Sim Shalom on page 191. Please join me. I know at least a couple people over here know this tune because Rabbi Rothblum wrote it. Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Chen v'chesed v'rachamim Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Al kol Yisrael Amecha Barcheinu Avinu Kulanu ke'echad V'yor panecha Ki v'yor panecha Natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu Torat chayim V'yahavat chesed V'yahavat chesed Sim shalom Utznaka uvracha Rachamim v'chayim Rachamim v'chayim V'shalom V'tovei einecha עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד רחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, על כל ישראל עמך. ברכנו אבינו כולנו כאחד, שים שלום, שים שלום.
Page 203.
יתקרא ויקרא שמי רבה. ביומא דברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וימיכון ובחי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב ימרו. אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך. לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויפור ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה. בריחו לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירון ביומה ויאמרו.
אמן.
אמן. תתקבל צלותון ובאותון לכל ישראל, קודם אבוהון דבישמיא ויאמרו.
אמן.
אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו.
אמן.
עושה שלום בברומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ויאמרו. Amen.
I want to share one more thing that Ari said, and then we will call up two wonderful women just returning from Israel.
And one
Sandy-
wonderful guy who just returned from Israel.
Pardon?
And one wonderful guy. Sandy's going to come up too.
Oh, Sandy's going to come up too. Great. So one wonderful guy, Sandy, and the two of you together. But here's what I want to share with you. He wrote, I know it was hard on my family, though my wife was a total champ. But I'm hopeful. One day my kids will understand why I had to go, and that Israel can never be taken for granted. So Cindy and Sandy and you, Cantor Aronoff, as you come to the Bima, you represent exactly that same thing.
Okay, who's first? Aw, no, we're not sisters, but we're really good friends. Do you want to go first?
So I had the privilege of going to Israel, got back 2 weeks ago with AIPAC. And there were 4 emotions that we felt, I think all of us. And those 4 emotions were rage, fear, resilience, and gratitude. And I'm just going to give you one quick one on each one. The rage, it was rage against the government, certainly, but there was also rage against the Gazans, particularly, you know, the people who lived in those areas, you know, particularly Kfar Aza, the one that we had lived. It was a vibrant community. They used to go into Gaza and bring workers into their villages so that they could help and work and make money. They would also bring sick Gazan children from Gaza to the Israeli hospitals. But these same workers were the ones who were kind of a fifth column. And you may have heard that many of the people in these kibbutzim were killed while they were going for the rifles in the armory. Well, the reason is because the workers who were there from Gaza, and the Palestinian workers, made maps of the place so that they could give to the terrorists, and the terrorists knew that the first place that the Israelis would go would be to get their rifles, and so they were there waiting for them, and so many of them were killed. fear. I'll just tell you one little story. There is a sign on many doors, and it says, "Do not knock." Why does it say "do not knock"? Well, you know, Amazon comes and FedEx comes and your neighbors come, but so does the military to come, and they knock on the door to tell you that your child has been killed. And so they, you know, it freaks them out when there's a knock at the door, so they just say, "Do not knock." That's just one little element of that. But let me talk about the resilience. The resilience, as the rabbi spoke about, I went to Sheba Medical Center, and we saw one of these young men, these are all young men and women, and he was missing the bottom part of his left leg. And he said to us that he was looking forward to getting his prosthetic so that he could put his boot on and get... You heard it from me, right? And so that he could get into the, he drove one of these bulldozers that cleared the way for the tanks. I mean, they're the first to get shot. Finally, gratitude. We went to a volunteer center. We made 30,000 hamburgers in a day. My job was ketchup. I'm really, really good with a bottle of ketchup now. I will tell you that every soldier that we spoke with, every single one, not only said thank you, but gave you a big hug, gave us a big kiss. And when we told them that what we were doing, that what AIPAC's mission was, to get them aid, you know, to get them munitions, they hugged us even harder, and that was very, very, very moving. Finally, on the last thing I was going to tell you is that we went to Har Herzl, and we went to a few graves of some of the military who were killed, and one of them, they gave us a letter that one of them had wrote to his parents before he was killed. And it's a long letter, but let me just tell you a couple of salient parts. One of them said, "I'm living my dream by being in the military. I'm defending my country, and that is my dream. And so if God forbid you are going to be sitting Shiva, I want you to have a party, and I want you to meet all of my friends, and I want you to have the cookies that Mom made," right? And he also said, "Don't trade me for a terrorist. I forbid you to trade me for a terrorist. My dream is defending the land, and I am fulfilling my dream."
So my experience was very different than Sandy's. Ron and I were in Israel when the war started. We were on vacation. My brother-in-law insisted that we leave after a week because things were getting hotter, and so we came home. And from the time we came home, I kept thinking that I needed to go back because I felt there was unfinished business. And as Judy said to me the other day, we both still feel like that. I wasn't there long enough this time. I was there for 13 days. I went with a group that volunteered. All we did was volunteer. I stayed in a little hotel where the rooms were about the size of New York hotel rooms, which was perfectly adequate. I met people from, unbelievable people. I met Christians from Australia, Switzerland, and Hong Kong that they're Christians that felt they had to come, and they worked as hard as we did. I met an 83-year-old woman who was there for a month. We planted in the mud, as many of you have heard, we planted shumar, which is fennel. I kept saying, you know, the thing that you make ouzo out of. And we were on our hands and knees in the mud planting fennel for this farmer who had lost his whole cauliflower crop because all of his workers were from Thailand, and of course the Thai workers, some of who were killed, had fled and left. So we did what we were told. We really wanted to pick citrus, and we couldn't pick citrus because they needed us to plant fennel. And it was physically really difficult work, but every day we came home, we showered, and the woman I met and I went shopping every day. We were right next to Ben Yehuda in Jerusalem, so we went for ice cream every night and falafel. And there were people on the street. As I've told a number of you, there were people on the street in Jerusalem. There were people in Machane Yehuda. Went out to dinner. We went out to lunch. On Tel Aviv, I went to Hostage Square, which was devastating and fascinating. There was a yoga class going on in Hostage Square. There's something going on there all the time in memory of in honor of the hostages. And then on a Monday night in Tel Aviv, the streets were packed. Israelis are at war and they're going about their lives. And they're still doing what they need to do. My sister's going to band practice, my brother's teaching. Well, he's on sabbatical, but they're doing what they need to do. And I just encourage people to go. Thank God I didn't have the scary experience as Sandy did. I heard no sirens on this trip. We heard them when we were there the first time. I actually forgot to register with the American Embassy this time, but thank God there was no need. I encourage you to go. You can do physically a lot more than you think you can, or you can just go and spend money, or you can just buy things online from Israel, spend money. They need us financially. And like Sandy said, everybody thanked us. Everybody, like the shopkeepers, thank you for being here. Why are you here during the war? Because I'm a Jew. Thank you, or a Christian, as our Christian friends. Thank you for coming. It was constant. My nephew is in Miluim. Another nephew is a police officer in the bomb squad. Shocked that we were here and happy we were here there. And I just want to encourage everybody to know how important we are to the people in Israel. Some of us over the years maybe have felt that Israelis have said, you know, we're the ones here and you're the Americans, and you don't feel it the way that we do, but they really do appreciate us being there. So that's it. I was short.
Everybody's experience is different. We have countless, literally, we have tried to count, our relatives in Israel. So Mel is still there for another week and a half. I was there for about 10 days. We volunteered for 4 of those 10 days, each day in a different place. The first day we were in one moshav picking peppers, not bell peppers, but long peppers that look like they should be hot, but they're not. And if you look in the market, they call them Tinkerbell. The second day we went to, and that day we were picking peppers with Linda and Lauren Fife. The next day went to a kitchen in Tel Aviv. It's a culinary school, and these young women from Berkeley started this school, and they spend several days a week not doing their classes, but rather having volunteers come in and cook. So we were there for 6 hours chopping. Mel chopped onions for over 2 hours. I chopped a lot more different vegetables. So we were there for 6 hours working and cooking and preparing for wounded soldiers and not wounded soldiers, etc. The next week, we volunteered one day picking lemons, so we got to pick citrus. This, again, both agricultural experiences. They all mention the Thai workers. They all mention how they don't have workers. But not only Thai workers, of course, they had workers, Palestinian workers. Most of the people, because the places we were at were in central Israel, they didn't have workers from Gaza. They had workers from the West Bank. But they were not being allowed in at that point. So they have no workers other than the volunteers who come. The volunteers who come are mostly Anglo, but others as well. And also there are Israelis who live there who come to volunteer, and most of them who we met were Anglo immigrants who had been there for, most of them for many years. The last day we worked, my friend Lita and I worked in Jerusalem at a place that sorts vegetables and fruit and food and puts together bags of food for people who can't afford it. They get dropped off once a week, and then they have this market where people come in, and for their dignity, they buy the food, but they buy it at like half price. and they give to soldiers, and they give to whatever. So also we were not on any particular group. We did this on our own, finding volunteer places, and we were fortunate enough to be there when both of our nephews got out of Gaza. So last Shabbat we spent in the very frum religious black hat neighborhood of Har Nof in Jerusalem. I was upstairs in a women's section and couldn't even see. After Shabbat, we got a call, my brother-in-law got a call that his son Yosef had just come out of Gaza, and he just started crying. And the next day, his other son was coming out of Gaza, and we went Sunday evening to a Tekes Siyum HaLechima, a ceremony that his group had finished their fighting for now. So nobody really knows what's going to happen. Just to end with one little story, I met with Mel's cousin, who Hadar knows, and I sat with her in a coffee place, and we were talking, and two things happened. Number one, she said to me, you know how you have weird thoughts sometimes in the shower? So I had this weird thought the other day. If chas v'shalom, I was taken as a hostage, who would I want to be with? Like, which of my friends would I, it's weird, right? Who would I want to be stuck with? Not that. She said, I want to tell you, Judy, I added you to the list. Oh, thank you for the honor. And the other thing is, she took a picture of me and she sent it off to her daughter. Her daughter is a displaced family. My niece is a displaced family. My niece lives in a kibbutz down south, which the terrorists had pictures of kibbutz Saad, had maps of kibbutz Saad, her kibbutz, and they didn't go in. The other one lives up north. Anyway, Robin took a picture of me, sent it off to Shani, her daughter, and Shani said, Ima, when did you go there to have breakfast with Judy? She wouldn't come here in a war zone. And I wrote back to her and I said, first of all, your mother would have told you if she was going to the States. And secondly, of course I'm here. And people are so appreciative of everything. And my niece told me when I was saying, I don't want to go, I don't want to go, I don't want to leave. She said, you have important work to do back in America. And the people there were asking us, as much as I was asking them about what's your experience, they were asking us, tell me about the anti-Semitism in America. Tell me what's going on the college campuses. Tell me, how is it to be in Los Angeles right now at this time? So they're also concerned about us, and we have important work to do here and there.
For those of you at home, Cindy just shared that there are Tanzanian agricultural students in Israel who did not leave, who are working on the farms, and that Israel helps these students from places like Tanzania to get the agricultural knowledge that they need. We are going to go straight to Aleinu on page 205.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרה בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום והשבות, אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא אלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחתנו. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו echad.
As a community, this week we mourn the passing of Abby Myers, the niece of Carmi Monsher, and we also observe with loved ones the yortzites of the following people: Norman Buckner, Yishai Feinstein, Ellie Gruber, Henry Russell, Nathan Sampson, Lillian Strauss, Nellie Wozniak, Leah Alkali, Bertha Ehrenreich, Abe Fischbach, Marilyn Howard, Irving Katz, Mamie Labinger, June Tobolowski, Anna Fish, Herbert Lawrence Forer. Gerald First, Samuel Garfinkel, Bernard Goodfried, Albert Haas, Charisse Hollander, Richard Nave, Tilly Pratas, Carmen Rader, Brent Sugar, Gertrude Spessiner, Hyman Tobolowski, Shandel Zimmerman, Louis Zimmerman, Philip Brown, Mickey Davis, Jacob Hocherman, Fanny Walensky, Alex Fife, Joel Harvey, Florence Sackheim, Anna Siegel, Samuel Sills, Sheldon Barron, Eleanor Iney, Molly Gervis, Rabbi David Paritsky, Margot Solomon, Sandy Saltzman, Eleanor Scher, Dorothy Stark, Leon Sudekin, Howard Werner, Ben Barrack, David Dauber, Rita Ehringer, Ernest Fields, Maury Goldstein, Leah Kugler-Groveman, Dr. Harold Heskel Mukamal, Rose Lena Pill, Celia Rubenstein, Bernard Rubin, Shirley Amelia Shirley, Elise Wagner. Is anybody here in the community, the name of whose loved one has not as yet been mentioned today? We turn now to page 207, as those in mourning and those observing a yard site rise for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah,
Amen.
V'yama Divra, Yirte V'yamich Malchute, B'chayechon U'vyamechon U'v'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala Uvizman Kariv Yimru, Amen.
Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabba Mavorach, V'yolam Ha'ol Me'omaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitba'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei D'Kudusha B'richu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbachata V'nechamata Damiran Bialma V'yimru, Amen.
Amen.
Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'yimru, Amen.
Amen.
Oseh Shalom B'mramav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'yimru, Amen. We are now going to spend one moment on announcements. Please take a look at the Sunday email that comes out to look at all of the different things going on in the congregation. I'd like to acknowledge Gary Spivak and Bennett Spiegel for reading Torah so beautifully today. Melinda for stepping up and doing the Haftarah in such a beautiful way. David Gruber and Robert Sachs for being both the Aliyah coordinator and the Gabayim. The Braid theater performance will be at Adad Ariel called I Loved You Not on January 29th, 2024. We're going to have the Shabbaton for the Adad Ariel community next weekend, February 2 to 4, so regular clergy will not be here, but you'll be well served if you are staying in town by wonderful lay people. Friday Night Lights, Shabbat and Chili Cook-Off on February 9th, 2024. That's a Super Bowl weekend. No, is it? No. Yes, Super Bowl weekend. I don't know about these things. And on February 11th, there'll be a wonderful sisterhood author program with Jennifer Lang, who writes about her relationship and her experience with marrying a person of a different Jewish culture and living in Israel. That will be on the 11th. And the rest of them, take a look in your at your emails, and you'll see the other ones coming up later in February, except I'll just say one more thing. On February 11th, Worldwide Tefillin Wrap at Minyan. So that's it, and we are now going to go straight to Hatikva. Cup and challah for us. I always put that guy on the spot. Poor Eitan.
Wash your hands for you. I'm going to give you a towel. Here. Thank you. Your lady. Ritual plastic bag. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Hey. Hey. Shabbat shalom. Hey. Hey. So you're not teaching today. You taught last week? Do we know if there's a kiddush?
You want to go down to that hall?
Probably.
Or a hall that's over there. Near the rabbi.
How did that get arranged?
Well, talk to them. Maybe I don't know what they want.
Hi. You want some challah? okay with what you have? You good? You want the inside part? There you go.
It's a darker girl.
Can I hand this? Ah, yes. The schlitzel. I know what a schlitzel is.
What's that word?
Key.
Zeer good challah. Zeer big.
I'll return this to you.
After we make a copy. Right after we make a copy, we'll return it.
Road trip. Shabbat shalom. Head for your group.
That's how we build community.
That is true. Oh, shoot. Shoot, shoot, shoot. I forgot to make an announcement. Thank you. For those of you still here in the sanctuary, there's going to be a screening of Golda's Balcony, the movie, on Wednesday, February 7th from 7 to 9:30 here in the sanctuary with dessert and coffee. It's sponsored by Sarita and Hank Stevens in honor of their birthdays. I'll go do that in the other room, too.
And don't forget, turn right out of the parking lot. Stand in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next Saturday? I don't think so, but we'll have to take care of that on Monday. I'm not here, but I'll tell you who to call. I'll write you after Shabbat. That's a beautiful name. The breed? Right. So usually the breed is done in the social hall, right there. And you can probably come almost any time during the weekend, during the week. You're going to need to talk. How many people do you think you're going to have? Okay, so we have to also add, when it's time for the breed, we have to send, you wanted to send it out to the congregation, right? Okay. So that's a lot of different steps. I'm back in the office on Tuesday. I will, after Shabbat, I'll send you about the thing for this coming, the kiddush you want to do. But then on Tuesday, if you want to either come in or talk to me on Zoom or whatever you want to do, or FaceTime, however you want to do it, I can spend I'm here on Tuesday. Okay, great. So when I write you tonight after Shabbat, I will let you know what times I have available, but we can talk through all of this for the breed on Tuesday and get it all settled.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year?
Happy New Year.
Oh.
It was a Shabbat.
I know, it was so weird.
Maybe it's for the trees.
Well, maybe it was from...
you don't have a Shabbat over.
I don't know, but I went to Cambridge Farm and there were a ton of round challahs. So I'm standing next to this guy who's obviously very religious, and I say, "What's with the round challahs?"
He goes, hell if I know.
He said, "Hell if I know." Yeah. So I'll write you after Shabbat, and then I will see you on Tuesday, and we'll work through all of those things. And we also need to tell the people who schedule the rooms that we don't know exactly, unless you're scheduled for a C-section now, are you? Yes. Oh, so the mohel. But you don't, no.
We talked with him. He told us that the day that the baby is born, we need to
Call him. But you're not having you're not having a surgery done to remove the baby. So we don't know when the baby's coming, right? So right when the baby is born, then we have to make the arrangements about the room for the breed and all of that. So I'll be there. I'll help you.
Yes, but
I will.
yes, I need to know before about the decoration, food.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. That's why we're going to meet on Tuesday.
Okay, thank you. Shabbat.
Oh, you're going home? I'll see you very shortly.